I'm back! Welcome to the movie forecast, the live version. I'll get better at this, I swear. Plus, without box office Bonnie in Toronto to challenge me, I will be victorious. Okay, now, the big news was last week, The Incredibles 2, no, they lost the, so it's the. Does that make sense? Incredibles 2. It opened at $182 million in 4,410 theaters in its three-day debut. Now, not only is this the biggest opening for any Pixar movie, but any animated movie of all time. Right behind Finding Dory, which made $135 million back in 2016. But this is the third biggest opening of 2018, right behind the Avengers Infinity War, and then, of course, Black Panther. And that makes it the 8th largest opening of all time. Which brings us to a pretty big dilemma. Now, usually, a movie opening will lose half its revenue the second week. Now, sometimes, in the case of a movie opening to younger audiences or families, it tends to be slightly higher, which means, in theory, Incredibles 2 could be looking at a $100 million second week, which would put it in competition for this week's huge movie opening of Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. Terrible at this, in the #1 spot. Now, of course, all the biggest fans of the first Incredibles movie, when it came out 14 years ago, they were all kids then, and now they're adults. So, I don't know. I guess we'll take a seat. Now, let's take a look at the current top 5 in the box office right now, live at this moment. In the #1 spot is, of course, The Incredibles 2, making $23.5 million on Monday and $27 million on Tuesday. Now, it's currently at $233 million in 4,410 screens, as I previously said. Now, second place goes to Ocean's 8 with $84,362,534 in 4,145 theaters. I didn't even think it was going to make that much, to tell you the truth. Now, in third place is Tag at $19 million in 3,382 theaters. Now, in fourth place, doing amazingly well, is Deadpool at $297 million in 3,212 theaters. Now, finally, in fifth place is Solo, a Star Wars story, at $196 million in 3,182 theaters. Now, this all changes tomorrow with Jurassic, I keep trying to say Jurassic Park. It's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom roaring into the box office. Now, nothing else is coming out except Boundaries from Sony Classics, of which I have no box office information except for that it is in limited release. But let's face it, it's not even going to crack the top 5 anyway. Now, Jurassic Park, I said it again, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is opening in 4,450 theaters. Now, what's interesting now, because we didn't have this information back when I used to do the movie forecast before, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has 9,038,172 total likes on Facebook and 5,994 Twitter tweets yesterday alone. Now, will it beat The Incredibles, which boasts more tweets yesterday, which had 14,190 tweets, but a much less 7,594,762 total likes on Facebook. Now, Jurassic World was released early in China, and it made $155 million. Now, the original reboot, because Jurassic Park was the original, the Jurassic World reboot in 2015, it made $208 million, which is now the 4th biggest opening of all time. Now, estimates for this weekend are coming in around $135 million to $150 million, But I'm not even sure there's that kind of box office money around this weekend with with Incredibles 2 around. Interestingly enough, what a coincidence. When the first Jurassic World opened up in 2015, it went up against another Pixar movie, Inside Out, which took second place at the box office with $90.4 million. Now, what's interesting here as well, word on the street is, rumors are that the PR budget for Fallen Kingdom is double the first one, and they're spending about $185 million. So that's enough information for me. So I predict this weekend in the number one spot, will The Incredible 2 be beat this weekend? You bet your sweet Velociraptor. Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom is going to roar in the number one spot, making, let's see, $120 million. Now, in second place, of course, then would be The Incredibles 2, still super, heroically moving in the number 2 slot with 85 to 90 million. Let's lock in $88 million. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Tag made $16.8 million. Now, it's probably going to drop about 60%, so I'm going to go... Ocean's 8 will sink down a spot with $8 million. That would be Ocean's 8 makes 8. That's pretty nice, but something. Let's lock it in at $9 million. So Tag gets tugged into the 4th spot with $6 million, and then in the number 5 slot, Deadpool 2, still not dead at the box office, making $4 million more. Now there you have it, your 100% accurate box office prediction with nobody to challenge me. But you could challenge me next week if you want. Join the show live. You can call in, call me an idiot, yell at me, whatever you want to do. We'll take some calls live. But if you beat me, maybe I'll see if I can get Jeff Howard from Vegas Film Critic to donate some of his Hollywood swag. You know, at the end of Indiana Jones, and where they have that giant warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant is stored, Jeff Howard has 2 of those filled with movie swag. Just saying. And speaking of which, it's time to get back to the live review, that's why you're here, of Jurassic World. We'll see you next week. All right, hold on, Mike. Okay, hold on. So, hold on. My live studio is in the other room. I got to somehow work that out. Okay, welcome to the live review of Jurassic World. Joining me from Toronto, oh no, wait, I meant to do an in memoriam. No, she's not dead. She's dead to me. It's box office Bonnie couldn't make it today. She's going to see Wicked for like the 10,000th time and totally ditched us. So she is dead to us, but filling in her spot is from Boston, our good buddy, Tim. Hey, Tim. That's not Tim. There's Tim. What's going on? Oh, wait. I guess I got to turn on your mics here.
I've got the whole screen.
Yeah, exactly. You got the whole screen.
Talk now. Hey,
no,
everybody.
just say hi.
Hi, everybody.
All right, and from Vegas, who's the man with the warehouse and the Ark and the Covenant. Hey, Jeff.
Oh, are we live? Are we live? Hey, Chuck. So you kept pushing, real quick, you kept pushing something near Corpus Christi during that movie weather thing. What was around Corpus Christi you kept pushing?
It's my buttons that do everything. Like, for instance, if I press this button, nothing happened. Why didn't it happen? There it is. By the way, I can do anything. Like if I press
Universal's publicity department right there, because you keep calling it Jurassic World Park. You kept interchanging all 25 years of Jurassic.
I've been editing graphics for the movie forecast for like 24 hours straight, so get off my case. But I've got all these controls, and and it does all this other different stuff. Hey, I noticed that you're not mourning Bonnie because she's dead to us. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
No. Well, she's not dead. She's having more fun. She's going to see Wicked. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's having a lot more fun. That's for sure.
And by the way, Chuck, there are two films coming out wide this week. American Animals is coming out wide this week, and also Won't You Be My Neighbor, which of course neither one will challenge Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. But don't be surprised how good American Animals does, because it was a big hit at Sundance, and also MoviePass is also one of the financiers and distributors. So I think you're going to see American Animals crack the top 5.
You are the spokesperson for MoviePass because I think you go like every day. But I know you guys are all here for the live review of Jurassic World or Jurassic Park or whatever it is. But before we do that, I was going to have graphics, but I got too busy. Jeff wants to say a quick public service announcement for a movie that is being trolled and getting raked over the coals. John Travolta's Gotti. Jeff, I'm sure you wanted to say something about that because I think you are going to boost up the Rotten Tomatoes 0 score, right?
Well, I think I am the only critic in the country that liked Gotti, and here's my MoviePass, don't look at the number. And MoviePass was one of the financiers of the film, and there's no conflict of interest. But I saw it, and this is a perspective from the family. This is from Gotti Jr.'s book about growing up with his father, and so it's a different perspective that I wasn't expecting. And yeah, it's hard hitting, and yeah, it's violent. It's a Goodfellas kind of style. Travolta talks to you, breaking that fourth wall. But I thought it was more like a TV movie, but it was far from being the worst film of the year. That goes to tag so far. So I'm really upset that the movie is getting so much hate, and it just fuels the fire for the need of something like Rotten Tomatoes, and 15 critics have seen it. So I got on social media and I started championing the movie to the point where the Gotti family started messaging me and following me. So that kind of was interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to have the tweet because I had it already, but that was pretty cool because when I did something previous, if you remember the movie Geely, which 9 out of 10 critics hated, but if you really talk to them, 9 out of 10 of the critics actually didn't see it. I liked it, and I was getting death threats from people.
Well, I haven't been getting death threats, but I just personally am upset that the movie doesn't deserve a 0. Travolta's worked on this movie for 10 years with the family, all shot around Brooklyn. It had authenticity. It had some great family moments, and I know I'm talking about this movie like it's a family movie, but it doesn't deserve the hate it's getting right now. So it just really upsets me, and I don't. Hopefully, it'll stay in theaters one more week, but I doubt it.
Plus, if you were to get death threats, you could just send a tweet to your new friends.
Hey, I'm Vegas, man. I lived across the street from the mob lawyer from Oscar Goodman, so nothing frightens me.
All right, Tim, we're going to get to you in a second, but right now, Jeff is going to give us the summary of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
You get the name right there, Thomas. Can you finally get it right? Well, now we take Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom takes place 3 years after Jurassic World. The park, of course, we know in the last film opened and all hell broke loose. Now there's class action lawsuits, and now the park's been abandoned for years, but the volcano on Isla Nubla is about to blow. Of course, Bryce Dallas Howard is like an activist now. She's trying to save these animals, saying we should save these dinosaurs and put them on the secluded island for a sanctuary. So she goes on a mission to rescue these animals and bring them back to the mainland for the sanctuary. But of course, nothing is always what it seems to be. They're not going to any kind of sanctuary. I don't want to give any spoilers away here, but they've been lied to. So the first hour of the movie, we're on the island. The second hour of the movie is all kinds of an animal rights theme, let's put it that way. And so it's really two different movies that really work well together in terms of the plot.
And once again, the most important thing I forgot at the start of it, because those of you tuning in to see Tim, yeah, we're going to get to him. But don't forget, if you like this, please subscribe. It is so important. I can't take it off the screen. There we go. All right, now joining us from Boston, Tim. Tell us, Tim.
Hi. I was taking a little nap there. I did enjoy seeing Jeff's incredible DVD Blu-ray collection there. It's just amazing.
I'm telling you, he's got warehouses of goods. So, I mean, don't rob him or anything. But, I'm not...
The Gottis will get to me.
Yeah. Hey,
the Gottis will get me.
Tell me, Tim, how excited were you when they announced, or were you excited that they were bringing out another Jurassic World movie?
I was excited. Hey, He looks a lot
I
like
don't
Tim.
know what is going on.
Yeah, you've been up 24 hours, Thomas. You've been up 24 hours. What are you
Okay,
doing?
let's see. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
There
You're
you go.
Bonnie. I keep forgetting you're Bonnie. So, all right.
All right. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Sorry.
When they announced it, I was excited. I was looking forward to it. Still, because I loved all the previous ones. I love the original one. That still, holds a fond place in my memory. So I was excited to see this one. But what came out? Let's just say I had a good time watching it, but I did have some problems with it in a variety of areas there. But it's exciting. It's a good roller coaster ride movie.
Wait, you had problems with the first one or problems with this one?
Problems with this one.
But don't get into those right now. I want to go back to Jeff here right now. Oh, sorry, Jeff. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Jeff, can you join us? Hello.
Yeah, are you time for me to talk now?
Yeah, it's time for you to talk. I mean, there are few bigger movie buffs than Jeff, and I know that just like me, like you think nobody goes into this making a bad movie or with bad intentions, except for maybe seeing dollar signs. But what were your thoughts on a possible sequel to Jurassic World?
Well, I was kind of mixed on the first one because it was such a ridiculous premise, let the dinosaurs loose and destroy everyone at the theme park. And now we're on a rescue mission. And, I go into these movies totally, I don't watch the trailers, I don't read synopsis. I like to go in fresh, and especially with a movie like this. And I was surprised how much I enjoyed it in terms of it being a summer popcorn film. And I mean, it had the action, it had the tender moments, it had a lot of great elements that makes it a great summer movie. And I agree with Tim. There are problems, especially in the third act of the movie when we're trapped in this Wayne Manor with all these dinosaurs. It just kind of went nowhere after that, But they also have this new dinosaur genetically engineered. They played on that again with this film called The Indoraptor. It looks like it's right out of Harry Potter. And so the movie does end with a cliffhanger, and that's what I liked about it too. So this definitely isn't the last one, but I love the rescue mission. I thought we're going back to the island again, but it wasn't. It worked. It really did. But when we got back on the mainland, the plot just started getting a little confusing, and it wasn't. And this isn't really family friendly because this thing's going to give kids under 10 nightmares. Because I was meeting people out in the lobby and I said, do not take a 6 or 7-year-old to this, because I was freaked out with they got this raptor coming into a bedroom and this little girl's hiding, and it's like, I mean, I would have nightmares. But overall, this is going to make just a ton of money, because early reviews were saying there were no dinosaurs. They were not even in the movie. I saw tons of dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, they were on the island for what, 2 minutes though, or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. So short.
That's all you need.
Time.
That's all you need.
Yeah, now, dude, I can't remember, but you're the one with the didactic memory, Jeff. Was there an actual shot of Bryce Dallas Howard taking off her heels and putting on sneakers or anything like that? Because that was the big problem.
I didn't see that, but I did see the Spielberg, shooting star in the background. You guys remember seeing that?
Right.
So that was definitely a nod to Spielberg, because in all his films he's got the shooting star. I thought the island stuff was pretty cool, and not only that, we had Jamie Gumb, from Silence of the Lambs, puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah.
He was the main. I kept leaning to my friend. I go, that's the guy from Silence of the Lambs. That's the guy. Put the lotion in the basket. Don't hurt my dog. That was him. 30 years later, and he was the great mercenary. There to collect all and he was really tough. And he has a great death scene. I'm sorry, that's the only spoiler I'm going to give. But he has a great.
That's a pretty big spoiler, Jeff.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No,
you think the bad guys aren't going to get chewed up in this movie?
Well, only,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a
only
great
the bad guys, right? That's one of the problems with the movie like this, I really think, is the fact that, like the first one, it was at the actual park. Hundreds of thousands of people were in peril. And here we had basically dinosaurs in peril, and then, just bad guys getting eaten. And I thought there was a lot more suspense in the first one, and I think it had to do with the heightened elevation of all these people on the park, where this one, I honestly didn't care if any of these bad guys got ate, because they're bad guys.
But see, I thought that this film was actually sort of eating the plots of some of the other films. I didn't know if we were all being heard at the same time, so that's why I was so quiet for a little while there. But, I liked the movie. It had a lot of fun to it. But, some of the plot elements were derivative of a lot of the other Spielberg films with Jurassic Park. I mean, all right, let's go down the checklist. We've got, all right, a guy in the rain who we see some lightning. he gets eaten. Then we see a scene of a T-Rex chasing somebody. All right, check that off there. Then we got Jeff Goldblum talking on and on and on about all the doom and gloom.
Wait, stop.
And finally, wait a minute. Hold
Okay.
on for this. Because here's the typical thing that I see in every one of these movies is that, all right, we've got a dinosaur menacing one of the stars, and they're afraid, and all of a sudden a T-Rex comes off screen, eats the dinosaur, saves the person, and we saw that in the first film. We see that in this film, and I'm wondering, why doesn't that T-Rex ever eat the person? Go for the little hors d'oeuvre rather than the big
Because
dinosaur.
Tim, if you were paying attention, Tim, it's all about movement. So it only attacks what it moves. So a lot of the good guys know to stay still, and the bad guys all run off running. So I think those are just those little devices that we come to expect. Just like watching a Bond film. You expect a car that has a rocket launcher and has all these cool gadgets from Q. And if you didn't have a visit from Q, you'd be really upset and say this isn't a Bond film. So we need a T-Rex coming. He's become a hero now. The first movie he was a villain, but the T-Rex is the good guy. That's how it's seen. Everyone loves the T-Rex because he keeps saving all our cast members.
Yeah, that's true. Besides Blue. But why was Jeff Goldblum in this movie?
He was
There was
bookend.
no reason for him. I mean, he's just sitting there
Oh,
during this.
yes, there was.
Well,
What?
yeah, right.
It's the 25th anniversary. You get him in there. He's bookending the film, which was a surprise. He's not. I thought, when are they going to bring in? Yeah, I got that too. Okay, Tim, where's your Jurassic Park? We don't have a team player here, Chuck.
Well, I'm mourning.
It's
I can
Cartoon?
press a button and eject him.
Oh, you're Bonnie. That's right. Yeah, Bonnie's not a team player either.
No, I mean,
She's dead to us.
Yeah. No, but
Yes.
definitely the movie, he bookends it. It's a cameo. And I think he gives this speech about what's about to happen, about how life finds a way and chaos and all that. Let these animals die. And he's right. I was one of those people in the movie, don't rescue these things, okay? It was a man playing God. I was like, let them all die. But you knew when they brought him back to the mainland, it wasn't like, oh, look at this little reserve and we get to protect them. No, they're going to be sold. They're going to be copied. They're going to be all the really horrible, underground, dark, criminal things that could happen with dinosaurs. It takes place right in front of you at this mansion.
All right.
Didn't we see mercenaries before coming after these guys? I mean, again, here's the one thing.
What do you want to send to catch them, Tim? The Flower Club?
Here's the one big plot hole. All right.
Okay.
Dinosaurs
don't
One?
exist.
There's only one?
There's several, but we don't have enough time
Okay.
for them. But there's all right, this cute little actress, I can't remember her name, but she plays the granddaughter of one of the scientists
Right.
who worked with Hammond from the original movie. So about 2/3 of the way into the movie, they drop this bomb about her origin. That's about as vague as I can make that.
Okay.
And then
Good.
it's like this wet moment about her origin, and they go nowhere with it. It's
Well.
like, all right, she comes
You
from
realize the Indoraptor is after them at that point. So there's not really much time for a retrospective kind of like debate about her origin. They're going to be killed.
and here's
eaten.
the plot hole. Why put it in the film if you don't have time for it?
Because
I love
it matches up with all the other, mad scientists, humans playing God, along with the other dinosaurs, without giving away the spoiler here. But it ties into like, should we be making these dinosaurs in the first place? It goes back to the argument because it shows that the technology is now being abused. So that's a great message in that. I thought that was a really great plot point. Meanwhile, the Indoraptor's like chasing them everywhere. He looked right out of Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Indeed.
Tim, forget about the plot holes. Tell us what worked for you.
I thought the action actually was very cool. Second half really worked for me in terms of just the chasing through Wayne Manor, as Jeff was putting it, which is an accurate way to put it. It looks a lot like it. The dinosaurs had a real malevolence to them. I like the chemistry with Bryce Dallas Howard and also Chris Pratt. There is a moment in there for the high heels, by the way. That's the first shot you see.
Yeah.
Is
that's
her
true.
high heels.
Right.
But and I actually liked that part. I liked that little homage to all the fanboy people who were like us, who were saying, oh, that was awful to see her running in high heels in the last time. But the action, the chemistry, and also just revisiting a lot of those familiar things that just seemed a little too familiar for me after a while.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, what worked for you?
What worked for me is doing a blood transfusion from a T-Rex to a Velociraptor. I mean, that scene in there when this T-Rex is knocked out and in this cage, and they're trying to not wake it up while trying to draw a pound of blood from it. I mean, it's moments
Yeah.
like that really make it exciting because you're not running from dinosaurs all the time. They're put in different situations where there's tension, where there's suspense, because in these kind of movies, anything can happen. And one thing about Bryce Dallas Howard I noticed is that some of the close-ups of her, she reminded me of Grace Kelly. She just has this movie
She
star
radiates.
presence.
I can see
Didn't
that.
she? Didn't
She
she?
does. She
Yeah.
glows right on the screen and captures it. One, and to Jeff's point, also towards the end when they have the sort of big face-off on the roof of the mansion,
Right.
and also where the big
Indoraptor.
bad, thank you, is coming in for the little girl. I liked those little set pieces, those little moments. It added a lot of suspense, a lot of terror. Great for the adults, will scare the children.
Now,
Will scare
And
the children.
don't forget, real quick, Chuck, I want to mention the sets too. It looked like we were in the American Museum of modern of history, the one in New York, like with the Ninth Museum. These sets were phenomenal. I kept thinking to myself, did they build these, or are we actually at a museum? But when they started destroying the sets, when all the dinosaurs got loose, but I mean, the set pieces are beautiful.
yeah. Now we know what problems Tim had with it. Jeff, you got to tell us what didn't work for you.
Well, what didn't work for me is that the second act of the movie when we're at the mansion, it just seemed like we were stuck there the whole time. It's unlike when we're on the island when you kind of have a feeling of adventure and going places. But I guess maybe that was what they were trying to do. We felt like we were in cages. I felt very claustrophobic during the whole mansion thing like that, and I kept thinking, how is this going to end? Where is this going to end with this movie? Are all these creatures going to die here? Are they going to get loose? Or so I just thought the third act was really weak because we stayed inside this mansion the entire time, running up and down different stairs, different levels with the elevator. It seemed like a different movie. It really did.
Yeah. Now I'm on that same wavelength, except for I was like, when is this going to end? Because something, I didn't care. I loved the first one. I was just bored. I wanted it to be back on the island. I thought the whole the hotel house dumbwaiter thing. I mean, I was just like, I just didn't care. There's so many bad guys. I didn't care that they got eaten. So for me, I was really bored. So
Was it stuff that you had seen in previous films there then, Chuck?
no, I don't know. It's just when you go back with like the trailer. If you go back and look at the trailer, obviously I hate trailers, but there's like 3 scenes in that movie that aren't in the movie at all. Just little things like Jeff Goldblum saying, "Life will find a way," and that's not in there. And Chris Pratt joke wasn't in there, and I was just kind of like, all right. And sometimes,
But Chuck, it's like it doesn't matter what didn't work because overall the movie did work in terms of the suspense, the dinosaurs, summer popcorn, going like this. I mean, it delivered. It kept my interest the entire time.
okay,
Not once was I ever bored. I was excited, but I wasn't thrilled in terms of like, wow, that was extremely original. No, of course not. But it delivered. It delivered the thrills, everything I expected from a Jurassic Park movie.
okay,
And I agree with Jeff because I don't want to think come across that I dislike the film. As critics, we have to point out certain flaws that we see within it and sort of dissect it. But overall, this was a great popcorn film. The cliche that often holds true. It's a great roller coaster ride. You just strap yourself in,
okay.
forget about all the minutia, and have a good time.
All right.
And
So
the teaser, and real quick, and the teaser at the very beginning was phenomenal with that giant a crocodile dinosaur, which just keeps making a few appearances, but that sets the tone for the whole movie. That was really cool.
And before we grade the movie, I got to do this because I spent 2 hours doing this.
Is it what I think it is?
Ooh, Harry.
There's supposed to be a big roar, but unfortunately, I was running out of time. All right, it's time to grade the movie. Let's see.
I'd fire the guy that does your graphics. I'll tell you that.
Hey.
Don't mess with the graphics, guys.
All right, what are you going to give it? Grade it for me.
I am going to give it a B. I thought it was above average. It was exciting. It's exactly what I wanted. It's going to make a boatload of money. I'm a dinosaur fanatic. Every kid in the theater was cheering. It's the ultimate summer film. I can't wait to see what's going to beat this. While Avengers was great, Infinity War, that was a different level completely. This is on a primal level. If you had a nice little pun there. But I thought this was just a great roller coaster. I had a great time.
All right, Tim. Wait, you're not Tim. Where'd Tim go?
Here we go again.
Oh, he's Bonnie. All right, Tim, what do you give it?
I'm going to give it a B-. I just like Jeff. I had a great time with it. The crowd that I was with was a general audience. They roared. They loved it. I agree with you. It's going to do just huge business when it opens up. The only thing is that, those few little problems that I had with in terms of the plot. Also, it's setting itself for inevitable sequels, so they can raise that score level for the next time that we review the inevitable sequel to the sequel to the sequel.
Remember, this is number 5 in the series, so at number 5 in the series, it still managed to scare, thrill, and entertain, which I was surprised.
All right, well, I was bored. Just back off, Jeff. I was bored. I love Chris Pratt. I love Blue. Where's he at? Come on, Blue. Here, Blue. Come on, Blue. Come on. All right. I'm going to give it a C. My wife liked it a lot more than I did, but sorry, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I think you hurt his feelings.
What's Jeff? Come back to us, buddy. Okay.
Are we still talking about a really kick-ass movie or not? Oh, Chuck, were you bored? You poor guy. All that work for nothing. That's not even roaring.
I know.
It sounds like
it's supposed
trying to
to be
strike a
roar.
match on
Wait,
the carpet.
how about this?
That makes more sense. Yeah. They are bird related.
All right, guys, I really appreciate you coming to do a review, and I hope to see more of you. Now, by the way, if you tuned in to see Greg Russell from Detroit, Greg was unexpectedly had car troubles and could not make it, or so he says. I think Greg Russell has this secret life when he's not junketing and interviewing movie stars. He's off like James Bond or something. I'm not sure.
Hey, Chuck, real quick in the final moments of
Gotti?
this live, not Gotti. Won't You Be My Neighbor? You've got to see the Mr. Rogers documentary.
Rogers. Yeah. From Pittsburgh.
That's right. I'm Generation X. I grew up with that show. I still remember every song, and I was crying like a baby in this documentary because I was transported back to my childhood. I changed shoes, my dad's shoes when he came in. I put on my dad's sweater when he came in. When he did Snappy, I would lose it. So I haven't thought of these things in 35 years, 40 years.
You're talking to guys where he came from. So, hey, love that one. Oh, one thing we should mention, which I didn't expect, was that, we're used to the closing credit scene at the end of all the Marvel films. So you got to sit through the credits of this one, because there is a scene at the very end of the credits. There will not be Captain America, but it does set up where probably the inevitable sequel is going to go.
I left.
I did too. I left. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. It was like a 2-hour movie, and right before I had a Starbucks. So after the review, you got to tell us what happened. I'm gonna sign off right. Oh wait, before we go, you got to plug yourself. Let's start off with give yourself a plug.
Okay, so you can catch my reviews on El Mundo Boston, also on Facebook at Tim Estiloz Film Reviews, on the spielon.com, as well as Facebook and YouTube. Just type in my name and you'll see some of my reviews and my interviews.
Jeff, go ahead.
You can catch all my movie reviews and interviews on my website, vegasfilmcritic.com, which is also the portal to all my social media, YouTube, iTunes, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. It's all right there at my website.
And of course, I'm Chuck the Movieguy from themovieguy.com. You can just go to themovieguy.com, and we're going to be doing reviews every week, starting up the movie forecast, I know, which is a snoozer for Jeff. Jeff, what are you doing? I'm trying to plug myself, and you're not even on camera, and you're making...
I can see myself, though. I'm just like...
You're right. It's true. You can't see yourself. So anyhow, please join us. We got upcoming reviews of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Jeff says go see Gotti, and we got to go right now because Tim's going to tell us what happened at the end credits, so make sure you stick around. And thanks once again for tuning in.